All right, man. Was driving around in the car today, and I think I was in some dead zones, so it was breaking up a little bit. And they kept saying something, and I couldn't make it out. It was something to the effect of Blossom Stodry Baltar. What could they be talking about?
Nazem Kadri is an all-star.
Oh, that's what. Now it makes all the sense in the world. All right, now let's talk about it. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, and Nazem Kadri. We did it, folks. We did it. We got him into the All-Star game. That is 3 Avalanche players and the head coach, Jared Bednar. So things are looking up for the Avs when it comes to All-Stars. I don't care about the game. I'll still maybe watch it. But I do like when, players on the team that you root for are tagged as All-Stars, and 3 of them are. So that's it.
We did the Lord's work. We have it's a 3v3 game. We have an all-star Avalanche team.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that, and then a whole bunch to get to. We're going to be talking about the Jordan Greenway situation, which is pretty much non-existent according to the league. The league should be announcing the makeup games for February without the Olympics. We're going to be making up those games. And as we talked about yesterday, when you hadn't played Minnesota in a while, and then you play them again, and then you realize, yeah, this is a good rivalry. Who are the Avalanche main rivals? I think Minnesota clearly is. Are there others around the league? So Kyle and I will kind of discuss maybe some other rivals to look forward to, or at least when the Avalanche are playing them. But first things first, thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. Follow the show on social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions to lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow the show's YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe and get notified whenever a new show goes live. So first, before we get to Nazem Kadri, there was some news that I guess broke before we went live, and Jacob McDonald has gone to long-term injured reserve. So, I mean, is that make or break for the Avs? No, but he's just one of those guys. Like, could he have been like, or he still could be like the next like Logan O'Connor, just based on the dude's work ethic. He's one of those guys that you enjoy watching because he just puts out maximum effort every time. So it's a little upsetting to see him go long term. I thought he was coming back. I thought Jared Bednar had said not that long ago that seemed like he was getting close to ready to go, and now he's on LTIR.
Yeah, and it's now becoming a weird thing for the Avalanche. We got so used to the injury bug. Now we're just going long-term injuries. And it's with losing Bo Byram and Matt Calvert before the year even started, and now Jacob McDonald. We just got Ryan Murray back off of LTIR, and then he disappeared again.
Yeah, he did, right? Yeah.
It's like it's weird. And for him to suffer this right now when he was hitting his stride definitely is not the greatest timing, but hopefully he gets back before playoffs.
Was Murray on the LTIR?
Or I think he was. Out? I think he was. It was like month to month. Bednar was saying it was month to month, and then there he is.
I remember Bednar saying he might not come back till spring.
Yeah.
So I mean, it would make sense if he was. But yeah, he came back much earlier than expected. Hopefully, we get something similar with Jacob McDonald. I don't know, really what to expect, but he's like I said, he's just one of those guys that you root for. He tries so damn hard when he's out there. So, and he's proven he is valuable on the defensive end and can play that forward role if he needs to as well. So, hopefully he can come back at some point during the season. But I mean, the hit he took, you gotta take care of yourself before anything else, man. So,
yeah, and you hate that you're going to miss out on that NHL development at that peak time, but again, we've said it a million times: health before hockey, and take care of yourself, buddy.
Absolutely. And like we said in the beginning, Nazem Kadri is in the All-Star game. That's your boy. I know you're happier. You're as happy as he is, maybe even more so.
Probably.
Yeah. So I think this is great because I just love the fact that the NHL had to make a graphic for Nazem Kadri announcing he was an all-star. We could sit here and just surmise and come up with conspiracy theories on if the NHL hates him. We know the NHL hates him, and they didn't. To have him, not only in the All-Star game but having a breakout season for him is great. It's great, and by all accounts, he was the number one vote getter across the board, not just for the Central.
Yeah,
he had more votes than anybody up for the 11th man in per division in the entire league.
Yeah, and it was kind of laughable when you hear everyone like on Twitter and stuff that's not affiliated with the Avalanche saying like, even I know this is laughable. And then when he finally got in the game, like those also who are not in the Avalanche circles, like, oh, it's another John Scott story. Yeah. No, it's not.
No, it's way beyond that.
Yeah, it's like we get it. Like he's physical. The NHL doesn't like that. I understand, but like the NHL keeping him out of the All-Star game, you can say it's the talent the Avalanche have. Like there are probably 2 or 3 others. You could say like Mikko. You could say Gabe, Darcy Kuemper. I mean, but Nas is having a year, and the NHL has to admit it, and I think that's the best part of it all.
And the best part is like they have no choice. Like this is fan voting, so they have to go with what the fans are saying. So I will state for the record, I did vote for other conferences too, or other divisions too. I don't know if you did or not. You're done. You're out. I did. I voted for all 4 divisions, and for the record, all 4 of the people that I voted for day in and day out were the 4 that were in. Between Troy Terry, Steven Stamkos, and Zibanejad was the guy for the Rangers again, but he cannot play, so they gave it to, I don't remember who they gave it to in place of him. But so I was pretty proud of myself for getting all 4 of those guys in, just solely based on myself.
Every ballot I had was Avalanche and Devils. So
who was the Devils guy up?
We had Hughes. That's all I voted for.
Which Hughes?
Jack.
He was already in.
No, he was on the initial ballots.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
When the last man in ballot was up, it was just Nas.
Okay. I thought you went Devils for last man in as well. Did they even have a last?
I didn't even look.
I didn't look. Yeah, no.
It was Nas and Nas only when that happened.
All right.
I had a job to do.
Either way, I mean, yeah. The next thing for him is to win the MVP of the All-Star game. That would just be the icing on the top.
There's no way it's going to be fan voting on that one.
No. But I mean, it is something to look forward to go watch the Avs play in that game, and you have 3 of them in. So it'll be fun. But I it's an All-Star game. As soon as it's over, I've moved on and I'm ready for the season to pick back up.
Yeah, I'm usually done by the second period. So
yeah. So as far as meaningful games, the one that the Avs just played in against the Minnesota Wild, we saw the hit from Jordan Greenway on Darcy Kuemper. He was removed from the game. We were talking about it. It was going around circles. It was, like I said yesterday, if you're a Wild fan, you didn't think it was that bad of a hit. If you're an Avalanche fan, you did. We talked about it yesterday. It doesn't seem like anything is going to happen. Nothing. No fine, no suspension, no nothing. Not even a talking to from Department of Player Safety. Surprised about that.
No, we're Avalanche fans and Department of Player Safety.
Okay. Yes. I mean, in the grand scheme of how about I word it as should it have gotten looked at? How about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was one of those, especially if you approached it in context. Greenway is no stranger to the Avalanche. This is not his first instance with the Avalanche. And when it comes to the goalie, defenseless, yes, this should have been looked at a little bit longer, or at least looked at, but we're numb to it at this point.
That is my sticking point, is it was a goalie. And you have proven time and time again, goalies are like the quarterbacks of hockey. You don't touch them. And I mean, the NFL takes it to an extreme. I mean, if you lay a finger on a quarterback and they are throwing a penalty, Did Greenway get penalized? Yes, and I don't want to think because he got penalized for it in the game that Department of Player Safety says, well, that was his punishment. A 2-minute penalty is not sufficient for
No.
what he did. If you had upped that to a 5-minute major or something like that, then you might have some semblance of an argument. I still don't think you do, but Department of Player Safety is basically saying 2 minutes is sufficient for us. I think that's garbage. You are hitting a goalie, the most defenseless player on the ice, who, like I said, you've shown when those guys get touched, you are throwing them in the penalty box for much more than a 2-minute penalty. I don't know. I think I don't want to go as far as say he should have got suspended for it. I would have been okay with that, with like anything like a 1 game. I don't think he was going to get anything more than that. I didn't think he was going to get anything more than that. But to not even really have a discussion with the dude about what was going through his mind, although he'll tell you, all BS responses to what he saw. What we saw was something different. And in what we saw seemed like he knew exactly where he was headed. He made eye contact with him. You can see that his head is turned. He knew exactly where he was. And he was looking to give our goalie a little, one-arm shiver, and he did, to the detriment of our team. And that's the other part of it. The fact that Kuemper did not come back into the game, and you don't even take that into consideration. I don't know. I've never known what Department of Player Safety is thinking, and I still don't.
Yeah, you could see in the intent in Greenway's eyes. There were better plays that he could have made, but he already had in his mind that he was going to make a little extra contact when he was going through.
Yeah, he could have avoided him easily, and he chose not to. All right, let's hear from Built Bar, and then we'll kind of dig into this rivalry and others for the Colorado Avalanche. So this should be fun. But first, we got Built Bar, and it is a new year, and that means New Year's resolutions. And look what Kyle's got right there, a beautiful box, a mixed box of Built Bar. He caresses it. He sleeps with him under his pillow. It is the
it
protein
treats me
bar.
right.
Yeah. It tastes more like a candy bar, probably even better than a candy bar. It makes it easier to stick to your New Year's resolution because they taste so darn good, and they don't taste chalky or waxy. And Kyle can prove they don't taste like what?
A chemical spill?
No, there's no flavor called chemical spill when it comes to Built Bar. So if you want to eat healthy, but it just gets boring, you might be thinking, it's just not worth it. Where's the chocolate? Well, guess what? Built Bars are covered in 100% chocolate. Most have 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, 17 grams of protein. Compare that to candy bars, which usually have around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. What's that one?
This one is the peanut butter brownie.
There you go. I mean, anything peanut butter.
Salted caramel.
I'll take that. I mean, is that not enticing you enough? And if you're listening to this and you want to see, look at that haul right there Kyle's got. And you know what he did? He went to built.com and put in locked 15, and he got 15% off that order right there.
You betcha.
And you can do the same. Just go to built.com, locked 15 for 15% off, just like Mr. Shaggy Von Du. All right. So when like I said in the beginning of the show, when we kind of get back into game mode with the Minnesota Wild, it just brings back all those rivalry games and the rivalry mode you get into. And we were kind of thinking, like, with the way the past couple seasons have gone, when you had the shortened season and just playing in a division, we got to play against like Vegas more last year, and then with everything happened in the playoffs with them last year. Who are the Avalanche rivals? Have they remained the same? Are there new rivals? So we're kind of like expanding this out to whatever really we feel like. Let's just talk about some teams, maybe like our top 3 teams that we think are the Avalanche rivals. Is it still Minnesota? Is that still, when you think Avalanche rivals in the division, is it Minnesota still?
Absolutely. Would you say that number 1 spot? I don't know. Avalanche fans always like to point back to Detroit. Like, I hate Detroit. Yeah, well, they're not a threat anymore. It's not like it used to be. Those days are kind of gone. Minnesota sits at number 2 when it comes to rivalries for me right now. Yes, it's nasty. Yes, we have history all the way back to 2010. Like, it's really gotten nasty since there. Like,
Right.
number 1
Okay.
be the Vegas Golden Knights.
You think so? You think that's your number one? They've taken the reins as the Avalanche top rival. I mean, I'm not against it. It's a good rivalry, definitely.
Have we forgotten the taking of the flag after they took us out of the playoffs? Just the nasty nature. Ryan Graves getting his hair ripped out. Do we not?
That was brutal.
Do we not remember all of that? And Vegas and their god awful Twitter account will not let us forget. And like, descend as one. Does that ring any bells?
See, like and that's a good point. Like, what are we including here? Is it more than just what's on the ice? Is it fan rivalry? Is it social media rivalry? Vegas has a very nasty social media page, specifically their Twitter page. They are very, very nasty. From a fan perspective, I think you take that stuff into account. I think you do. And nobody likes Vegas just because they're like that, the new student that just came to school and just is this like the most popular kid in the hallway immediately. They've never had to go through any like trials and tribulations yet. It's just like they've been handed everything. And on one hand, you have to be like, okay, well, that's a good front office. Like, they've done it the right way. And look at what Seattle is doing or not doing. And it's like they had the same opportunity that Vegas did. Maybe you can get into semantics about who was available to Seattle and who was available to Vegas. I get that. But in one aspect, you can say like, the front office has done well. In another aspect, it's been like you have a fan base that is just so arrogant, and you haven't won anything yet, but you're winning. You have a winning club. I get that. So it's one of those things from the outside looking in, you don't like it because it's just like you haven't gone through the crap yet. And you're kind of just sticking your nose up in the air to everybody else. You're not paying your dues is more or less what I'm trying to get at.
Like, as hockey fans, like Vegas came into the league, like we're all trading our Pokemon cards and Vegas pulls out a Pokemon book full of cards. And you're like, who's this dude? And we're like talking about GoldenEye on 64. And they're like, oh, we got a Dreamcast. And you're like, we didn't even ask you, bro. Like, they just come in and feel like they own everything because they made the cup in 1 year. And so did Montreal. Look at where they are. Like, it doesn't matter if you make it. It matters if you win it, and they haven't, and they think they have. And every aspect of what they do, it's like elitist, even down to their social media and like their game day traditions. It's just like over the top, and it's like, earn something first, and then we'll talk.
I get it. So off the ice, it's definitely like fan rivalry. On the ice, it's a good rivalry because it's two good teams. Whenever they play, they go at it. They got the better of us last year. I almost want to play them. I don't like having the easy road to a championship. I want to look back and say the teams that we took out were the best teams. And I think it is one of those things where you have to go through Vegas if you want to get to a cup final if you're the Avalanche. I'm okay with that because I want some redemption from last year. I want to beat them fair and square, just like they beat us. So that is a budding and a very good rivalry, and it probably will be for a long time. The Minnesota one, that's still, to me, that's still tops because it's in division. I think your number one rival, and you're not wrong. I'm not saying like, absolutely, Vegas is probably a top rival. But if you're one of those, I guess, purists, where it's in the division, to me, it would still have to be Minnesota. I just think we saw it. We saw it the other day. Like that was a good physical game, and you're going to get that from Minnesota. So why? And Vegas is a physical team too. But you play a series against Minnesota in the playoffs, you might be able to get by them, but you will feel it. They're not going to set you up sitting pretty for the next series if you're lucky enough to beat them. So I think that's a good rivalry too. Still, obviously.
Yeah, easily wrapping it up in that third spot.
Mm-hmm.
You could say St. Louis. There's bad blood. They go after Kadri. The bubble season, the play-in round, Kadri's goal to give us that number one, like just like that play-in round, that last second goal that looked good. We meet up in the playoffs. Bennington doesn't like us. We don't like Bennington.
Yeah.
And they got Brandon Saad now.
Yeah, but you gotta like Brandon Saad. You know, I mean, I know
It's
he's
hard
playing
not
for them
to.
now.
It's hard
He's a
not to,
likable
but he
guy.
went there.
I know. I mean, it's like Grubauer.
Yeah.
Like he didn't want to stay, and I think it was kind of similar for Saad. I think he wanted to stay. I think the term was there. I don't think the money was there. So,
And Ryan O'Reilly's still skating around over there. So there's like some weird bad blood between the two.
Yeah, you are the enemy now in my eyes. So for me, I think I'll do this in a division and then a conference and then the Eastern Conference. So I would say Minnesota for the division. Conference is Vegas. If you want to have an Eastern rival, I think just because of the name right now, I think it's still the Red Wings. And every time you play them, everything's going to get brought up. Is it as vicious as it was then? No, nothing is. Nothing is. But I think a budding rivalry based on that game that they played against Florida.
Yeah.
That's happening. I'm telling you. Go back and watch that game. There was some ill will between those two teams that is not going to be soon forgotten. No. So I'm looking forward. I mean, and the thing is, you only play them twice a year. And if you play them in the playoffs, it's going to be in the Stanley Cup final. Mm-hmm. So the first game, not so much. That was very early in the season, and they smoked us. Second game was more of what you can get from these two teams. This is something to watch. And again, because you only play them twice a year, it's going to be few and far between. But there could be some hatred between these two teams, again, because they're both going to be good for a long period of time or so, we think.
Yeah, there's no way the fan bases forgot about that game either for Florida. So I think it's also in their mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. So what do you guys think? You kind of want to know. I think a lot of us are understanding that it's Minnesota and St. Louis. Are there any other teams out there that you think are that you just don't like personally, or is a rival for the Avalanche now or future thinking? If you think like this team is a team that you just don't like or the Avalanche don't like, let us know. Get all of us on social media or lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. All right, let's hear from Bet Online and then get into a couple other newsworthy things involving the league. So, as a whole, which clearly impacts the Colorado Avalanche. So we'll get to that in a second. But first, betonline.ag would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march into the playoffs. I tune out if the Broncos aren't in. It's what we got 6 teams left. No, it can't be 6 teams left. I don't know how many left, but
8.
Sure, whatever. But your Tennessee Titans are looking mighty good this year.
Yeah, to lose against Cincinnati. Here we go.
That's who they're up against?
Yeah.
What you know what the spread is over on betonline.ag?
I haven't looked that up yet.
No. All right, we'll have to go look that up. And then when you do, just throw everything that you own down on the Tennessee Titans. You heard it here first. And if we're wrong, you didn't hear it here at all.
Nope.
But BetOnline remains the number one spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. It's a new year and a new updated desktop and mobile website. And when you sign up today, you receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code LOCKEDON to get started. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. It's betonline.ag. It's the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports. It's where the game starts. betonline.ag. All right, a couple more news things to get to. Like I said, league-wide, so clearly impacting the Colorado Avalanche. One of them, after the All-Star break, the league will no longer test asymptomatic players. That's cool. My question is, why do you have to wait? Just start it now. What protocol needs to get in place so much that you have to organize so much to say, like, well, we're going to do this, but we have to wait 3 weeks before we do it. Just start it. Just say, like, you're asymptomatic. We're not going to test you.
I mean, and it's not like they're doing anything grandiose here. It's just stopping something.
Exactly. It's like if I want to shut off my internet, just call them up and you flip a switch. It's done. And no, but what they do? Oh, we're gonna flip it next week. No, flip it now. I don't want it anymore. I don't know. So, but I guess for the rest of the season, that's a good thing because every team, and focusing on the Avalanche, we're experiencing this now with Valnichuskin. He is out, but from everything that's reported, he's asymptomatic. Gabe Landeskog last week missed those few games. He was asymptomatic. So, and Jared Bednar has been vocal about this.
Yeah.
In his press game or post game press conferences, saying we have to address this and fix this because it's not benefiting anybody if they're asymptomatic. Why are we testing them? Other leagues are doing the same exact thing. We're the only league not doing that, or we're the only league doing that. And it seems like they're going to catch on halfway through the season, better than never, I guess.
Thanks, NHL.
Yeah, so be prepared for that. And we should be hearing, according to Elliot Friedman, the makeup schedule for all the games missed pretty much in December. And that will be made up during the month of February because obviously the players are not going to the Olympics. So for the Avalanche, and I guess for most of all of these games to be made up, which there's a lot of them.
I got the list.
Yeah, so they still want to give teams a week off. So you're going to have to get all these games in a 2.5 week period.
7 games.
7 games. You might be playing 3 games in 4 days. You might be doing a back-to-back day, which the Avalanche are doing now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're going to be playing a lot. The Avalanche had 7 postponed, right?
Yes, that would be...
Go ahead. List them off.
Tampa, Detroit, Buffalo, Boston, Vegas. Oh, Dallas. 7 opponents, 8 games.
And here's the thing for the Avalanche. What was I say? 7 games?
Yes, Tampa.
5 of them are on the road.
That's true.
Most of your makeup games, which is going to be a sprint to make up 7 games, 2 of them are at home. And you're going, and the ones at home are Tampa Bay and one of those Stars games. Because wasn't a back-to-back. There's a day off. Well, there was a day off in between them. Who knows what it's going to be now. So you're going to Detroit. You're going to Buffalo, to Boston. So that's an East Coast swing. So that's going to suck. And then you're doing in Vegas and then a Dallas one. So I don't know. What do you think of I mean, just forget about where they're playing and cramming all these games into a short amount of time. Just on the opponents. Are you liking some of these matchups? Are you not liking some of these matchups?
I mean, for rivalry's sake, to go back to the previous segment, get to see Vegas. That'd be great. Yeah. Get to see Detroit. That'd be incredible. I really was looking forward to that Dallas series, and we didn't get it. I really want to see what we do against Dallas. They're just a all over the place team. I would like to play Dallas.
Yeah, I think the Lightning game that's in Denver. So you're looking forward to that because that's, 2-time defending champion. And they're still playing well this year. So whenever those two teams get together, it's going to be like, oh, is this a Stanley Cup preview? Okay.
And Belmar comes home.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
How's he doing this year? I don't think he's
not tearing it up, but it's still Pebbles, and we miss him every day. And I hope that we give him a nice little welcome. Unlike Grubauer, I would like us to. I miss Pierre-Edouard Bellemare.
I do too.
I really do.
Still one of the best sound bites in Avalanche history.
Yep.
Lake Tahoe. Gonna go play in Lake Tahoe. He's got 4 goals and 7 assists, 11 points.
It's about par for the course.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think that'll be obviously a good game. Let me get back to where they were here. And the Golden Knights game obviously is one, that was going to be the first time you played them all year, and that was 2 days after Christmas.
Yeah.
So now you get to play them, and I think it's when you play teams like Tampa Bay and specifically the Golden Knights, and maybe even always the Bruins, when you play an original 16, it's a big deal. If you had played them when they were scheduled, it's when the Avalanche were. I mean, they were coming out of this funk, but they were starting to play much better.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're playing even better than they were at that time. So yeah, I mean but I think those are the two games you're really looking forward to: the Lightning, Golden Knights, and you always throw the Red Wings in there, and then you got 2 division games. So it'll be interesting to see again how many games. I mean, we know we're playing 7, but in how many days? Over the course of how many days? That's going to be. Is this going to be taxing on the Avalanche, and then they get some rest time before they dive back into their season again?
It doesn't get any better. It's not like you can stick one of these later in the season. It doesn't get any better once you go the rest of the season. So
right, yeah. So we shall see. It's supposed to be announced pretty soon, according to Friedman. So pay attention to that. If anything else happens, we will be discussing it. But tomorrow will probably be a Anaheim Duck series, and the Ducks. Rumor is they're going after Chris McFarland from the Colorado Avalanche as their GM. I don't know. I'd hate to lose him, but something else to keep an eye on. I don't know.
Over my dead body.
All right, everybody, that is going to wrap it up. And we will be back tomorrow talking about another Avalanche game day against the Anaheim Ducks. So that will do it. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Check out Locked On NHL. Make that your second listen of the day. Get caught up on everything going on around the National Hockey League. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. And this is your Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow.